Okay, let's just not to mention the fact that he's a Christian man and he would have done it because he's, walking on earth as God's pupil or whatever you want to call him. He's basically extremely religious now. He belongs to God, so he would have saved him. But not only because of his Christian charity, but simply because right before, like when they're standing right at the edge of the river, Javert asks him, "Why didn't you kill me?" He says, I didn't have the right to kill you." And Javert says, "But you hate me." And he says, "I don't hate you." That's the thing about their relationship, and that's the main thing I think they got down about it, is that they don't hate well, I don't know, Javert may hate him, but Valjean does not hate Javert. He just wants to live in peace, and Javert's not even really an inconvenience. It's just a part of his life that has to stick around, but he would like to get rid of. But that's the thing. He understands. Javert's just doing his job. Javert, while he may have personally hated Jean Valjean, Jean Valjean did not hate him. And that's the whole thing about it. And, Javert's working strictly by the law. Jean Valjean's working by his morality. And, in the eyes of the law, Jean Valjean is a criminal, and therefore Javert, who hates criminals, hates Jean Valjean. But Jean Valjean never, ever hates Javert, and he never technically wants anything bad to happen to him, such as when he saves him at the barricade and lets him go. He understands that Javert is simply doing, following orders, and he's not, even if he was, physically or, unlawfully trying to hurt Jean Valjean, he probably wouldn't hurt Javert back. And, when I say Javert does not like Jean Valjean, that's not a guarantee. Because, at the end of the movie when he kills himself, he's kind of stuck. Because he realizes that Jean Valjean is the exception to his belief that all men are either good or bad. So, I'm pretty sure by the end of the film, Javert realizes that he's not a bad person. But, we'll talk about Javert later. Right now, we have to talk about him not saving him. He just gets done saying, "I don't hate you, I have no right to kill you," and, basically implying you're just following the ways of your job and the law. But then when he kills himself, he's just like, he walks away, like you see in the picture, smiling. He's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he just did that. That is so awesome. Yes." I know he's happy for being able to go free and live a normal life, but Jean Valjean would have put other people's lives before his own. That's the thing about it. He would not have been so greedy as Liam Neeson is. And it just got under my skin so much. And when he was walking away, I was like, I wish someone would just shoot you, please. And I feel like other versions cover this a lot better because Javert is not doing it in front of him because Valjean would have saved him. But he does it right in front of him. I think I've hated on Jean Valjean long enough. I want to talk about Cosette. I don't really have that much to hate on him, except she's kind of boring. She's very bland, and all she really does is whine the whole time. Like, all her lines are, wah, 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 papa this, papa that, eh. And she's very, I mean, I understand she wants to see the world and all this, and that's another thing about Jean Valjean. All he has to do is tell Cosette his past, and everything would be fine. I know he's trying to protect her, but if he just said that, if you think about it, most of the events in this movie wouldn't have happened. Not to Jean Valjean, because if he never told her about his past, if he had told her about his past, she wouldn't have gone out and she wouldn't have met Marius. If she hadn't met Marius, she wouldn't have gotten involved with all that stuff at the barricade. And if she hadn't gotten involved in a relationship that involved the barricade, Javert never would have been led to Valjean, and they would have lived peacefully. God. So, really, Valjean's the bad guy, not Javert. Of course, I've never seen Javert as a bad guy, but that's something else. But, again, she's just kind of bland and boring. That's the thing, though. A lot of these characters are not very likable, and I don't really get why. There's one character, though, that is, I don't know if I call him likable, but he's interesting, and he's cool to follow. And that is Inspector Javert. Now, there was one thing I remembered about this movie before I saw it again that stayed true. Geoffrey Rush kills it as Inspector Javert. My God. I mean, talk about someone who's relentless. And he really comes alive when he discovers that Jean Valjean is Jean Valjean when he's the mayor. He's like, I knew it! And he goes, to his house, and he's going to arrest him in front of Fantine, and, Valjean busts his face against stone. It's awesome. And that's where he really comes to life, is when he's around Jean Valjean, because you can just tell he wants to capture him so much. And, look at his face right there. It's like there's no feeling to him. But that's the thing about Javert, is that he's so formal that he doesn't have time for human emotions, except for, ones involving arrests and convicts and the law and stuff like that. He doesn't have time, to love other people or share kindness to others. And that's what you see in that face. It's deep. And it's very intriguing. And he's awesome to watch when he's on screen. In my opinion, he's the best performance in the movie. And that's really the main thing I gotta say about Javert. But I think it's a good segue into something else. You guys have to understand that when I was first going to make this review before I saw the movie again, I expected to feel the emotions I felt before, but I didn't. So I just spent most of the review talking about this, and I'm not going to spend another 15 minutes talking about what I would have talked about, and those are the 4 people you saw in the pictures. Basically, a major complaint is that major characters in the novel and the musical, which are Enjolras, Eponine, and the Thénardiers, were pushed to the background. If any at all. I think Enjolras was black, which, I'm not racist, but he's not supposed to be black. But anyway, a lot of people were like, it sucks because Eponine's supposed to be in love with Marius too, and there's a love triangle and stuff. No. Again, I was going to have a 15-minute long lecture on this. I might still. If we talk about other movies that were adapted from books, we might still. Here's the thing. In this universe, Eponine doesn't exist. So guess what? She doesn't freaking exist. You don't knock a movie for not having something that's in the book. Unless it hurts the film. For example, if you're going to let's say that someone wrote a Superman book and it had Lois Lane in it, and you make a Superman movie about it, but there's no Lois Lane. And you say, I don't know, it got kind of boring along the way, and, let's say Lois Lane was like a detective and she solved a lot of mysteries for Superman. I'm kind of doing this on the fly, I didn't think. But you could be like, yeah, Lois did a lot of mysteries, and her doing this led Superman to this cavern here, and he fought Zod. But Lois is not in the movies, so she doesn't do the mystery, so Superman just happened to find Zod. That's a little too convenient. There, yes, because she was very important to the story. And I'm not saying those characters aren't important to the story, but the story is okay without them. It is, they do not have to have those characters. The Thénardiers were comic relief. Enjolras and Eponine, as awesome as they were background characters. All the major characters are okay, and I don't think the movie suffered without them. I want to talk more about this, but again, I talked about something else. The last thing I want to talk about are the performances. And this is probably the best part of the movie. The acting is good. It does rival the musical version. I don't know if it's quite that good, but Liam Neeson does excellent. Geoffrey Rush is fantastic. Everyone else, there's not really one bad actor, I wouldn't say, that I can think of, who is a major character anyway. But so, acting was good, but I just want to reiterate, this movie could have been fantastic if it had passion. I don't know why it lacked it. Maybe the new one had so much that this one kind of felt underwhelming. But if that's the case, then I need to rewatch it again, which, I'm just going to say this now, if there's a movie that I give a low rating to and I feel I should change, I'm going to do an update. It's only going to be a couple minutes. I'm going to explain why I'm changing, and I'm going to change the rating. But I'm keeping a tab on my ratings of these movies. But it didn't have any heart. It didn't move me. And Les Miserables is such a moving piece that, again, I was moved when I first saw it. But I wasn't moved this time. I was surprised. Like, watching it, I was like, wow, this is not phasing me, really. I'm just kind of chilling. I mean, I was loving, watching Geoffrey Rush and Jean Valjean psych each other out and all. But, again, I was expecting to be moved in my heart. Because that's what Les Mis can really attack your heart, and it can hit home. This one didn't. I mean, that's really all there is. So, rating. I'll be honest, I was planning on giving this movie an 8 out of 10. And then watching it, I dropped it down to a 7. And then when I analyzed all the problems with the characters like I showed you, and that's not all. There's several other problems. Like, story-wise, there's not really... Story's pretty good, but, like, as far as, like, how the characters act on screen, you know, it just bothers me. And, again, the fact that it's not moving. But, so when I dove into it, I said it's going to be good at 6. And then I changed it back to a 7. And I don't say 6.5, 6.5. I don't do halves or thirds. Right? I do solid numbers. But at the end of the day, I'm going to lean to a 6. Now, with that being said, it was almost a 7. But the musical one's so good, I got to give it a 6. With that being said, it's not a bad movie. I mean, I recommend you see it if you want to see what Les Mis is all about. And you haven't. With that being said, however, if you have a chance to see the musical version, I'd strongly recommend you see that one first. Even if you're not a musical fan, it's a very... I'm not going to get into it, but it's much more moving than this one. And, so this was... I don't know, it kind of had the feeling of bland movie. And, I'll probably rewatch it sometime, not soon, but eventually sometime in my lifetime. And if I feel like I should change it, if I feel a new appreciation, or if I feel like it really freaking sucks, then I'll make an update review. But right now, I'm going to have to keep with a 6. I'm going to be reviewing the brand new Les Miserables next, right now, as soon as I upload this thing. And, it should be actually on my videos when you're watching this. So I hope you watch that too. I'll see you guys later.